All right, so I'm going to show you how to hem something. So this works for any kind of like bottom of pants, skirts, sleeves, anywhere that you need to have like a finished edge. Um, and it's just hanging down. So this is going to be about 3 inches by 7. All right, and try to cut it as straight as you can. I'm going to use the straighter edge as my gauge. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is iron. And I chose a printed fabric so that you could really see like what it's supposed to look like being finished. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to turn this up 1/2 inch. You can measure if that makes you feel better. I pretty much know what 1/2 inch looks like, but let's just double check how good I was. Yep, pretty much spot on. That's 1/2 inch. And then roll it up to like usually your hem is going to be pretty substantial, like at least double that. So 1 inch to like if you're doing draperies, actually those would be like maybe 4 or 5 inches. If you're doing a skirt, it could be anywhere between like 1 inch and like 2 to 3 inches. Okay. Oh darn! I don't have this threaded for y'all. I will use a contrasting thread of a different color. That is thinner and easier to thread because man, that embroidery floss is hideous to thread. Okay. All right, get that in there. This is good to see how to knot like let's see if we can see it better on a background like that. Knotting really tiny thread, like thin thread, regular thread, is a lot harder and trickier than knotting embroidery thread, which is where that needle trick really does come into play. But also you can really guide that knot. The knot is right here where my fingertip is, and I'm literally just kind of guiding by pulling to get a double knot. And this is really thin stuff, so I'm going to have to knot a few more times to ensure that it doesn't go through the fabric. Here's the needle trick. So if you're getting kind of close, but you're not sure if you're going to hit it, you can kind of stick the needle through and guide it that way a little bit too. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by bringing my needle through the inside fold. Hopefully you can see that, about 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch in. So it's inside the fold. That's where it's going to start, and that's where that knot's going to hide. Perfect. Okay. So then I'm going to go directly across from that where I just threaded, and I'm going to take just a teенsiest little thing, because this is a blind stitch hem or a slip stitch. The idea is that you should really not see it. Now I'm going to go pretty much like really close to where I just left off, and I'm going to put my needle through about 1/4 of an inch, pretty long, and go further than that. Okay, and then I'm going to do it again over here. Now the idea is if you're using if you're using the same color thread, you really don't want to see it. It's a hem, you don't want to see your stitches. So I just stopped there, so I'm going to go back right up pretty close to where I left off. What I'm doing is I'm letting my needle sort of travel through. It's traveling through that fold about 1/4 of an inch. And I'll be honest with you, there are feet for